Hello and welcome to a whole new series of Higher or Lower brought to you by oddschecker, SpreadX and Sporting Index. This is, I think, our third season.
Third full season.
This. Yeah, a show that's seen many highs and many lows. I'm your host, George Elek, delighted to be joined by Dan Worth and Jack Wright ahead of the new Premier League season. And this is the show where we're going to look at the SpreadX and Sporting Index prices for points, so the total points that a team has received over the course of, or will receive over the course of the season. Now, if you're not familiar with how spread betting works, then make sure you do go and do your research before placing a bet and signing up for an account. I'll try and explain it now using the point spreads markets that we're going to look at here. And the way that this works is that Sporting Index and SpreadX give each team a point spread. So for Liverpool, who we're going to start with in a second, the sell price is 78, the buy price is 79.5. So if you're to sell at 78, then you make your stake for every single point they get underneath 78, or you would lose your stake for every point over 78. So if you were to sell at 78 for £2 and they got 77, you would win £2. Or if they got 79, you would lose £2. Does that make sense?
Makes sense to me.
Thank you. Now, that's over. We can do the pleasantries. How are you?
Very good, mate. I'm very excited. I love these opening episodes where you get to look at the season as a whole and then each week regret it when the team that you've bought points loses.
Yes.
Or the other way around.
Yeah, I kind of agree. How did we get on last year? Do you remember?
I no.
Okay.
There was one Premier League winner that I was certainly on the wrong side of. And,
Liverpool, there was only one Premier League
There was
winner.
only one, yeah.
And you sold the points.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be a really tough season for Slot in his first one. And
it wasn't. Jack, you, I'm sure, would have nailed it.
I think I got all of them right.
Correct, yeah.
Quite convincingly so as well. So it was happy days.
That's good.
That was
Yeah.
fun.
I think that might need to be checked before anyone goes and calls you out on that. How's your summer been?
Absolutely brilliant. Loved it.
Yeah.
Very nice summer. Relaxed. Nice break. And gives you really excited to come back in and get stuck back into the action. So great to be back.
Yeah, me too. I've been spending hours poring over these markets over the last few days. Dan, on the other hand, it's been a stag do in Birmingham, sleeping. So you can forgive him if his beliefs and reasoning isn't great. So if you haven't already got a Sporting Index account or a SpreadX account, make sure you do. You click on the link in the show description. There's a new customer offer there. Click on that. You can sign up. As I say, do check out how spread betting works and understand the risks around spread betting. And remember that losses can exceed your initial deposit. But let's get into the action because we've got loads to cover here.
Yes.
I could talk to you guys all day.
Oh.
But as I say, Liverpool are the first ones we're going to be looking at here. 78 to sell, 79.5 to buy. Last season they won the Premier League title with 84.
They did.
So they've been budgeted for what, like 4.5 points. Loss. We're going higher or lower here. 3, 2, 1.
start
We
off
all agree.
amicably.
All agree. We all think they will get 80 points or more. Jack, why is that?
I think they'll win the title again.
Ooh,
I do.
straight in.
Yeah, I think they're favourites, obviously fixed odds and favourites in the spread betting market as well. So I think they're worthy favourites. As you rightly said there, they went higher than this line last season. If you're going to win the title, you're going to get at least 80 points this season. I think their points haul actually last season was probably a little bit shorter, or a bit lower actually, the fact that they kind of coasted from back Christmas onwards, didn't it? It was pretty much done and dusted. Everyone was waiting for that fall off and it never happened. So they've added close to £300 million worth of talent and some very, very good talent in there as well. I don't think their departures are going to impact them too much. Trent Alexander-Arnold obviously being the main one, the headline one, and I think they've done well in replacing him. They've got Conor Bradley, I think, when they need to go a bit more compact, a bit more defensive. I think they've got a very good defensive fullback to cover that side of it, arguably a better defender than Trent is. And of course, they're going to miss his kind of assists output, but getting in Florian Wirtz is going to be one of those exciting...
He's a player, isn't he?
Yeah, a really exciting player to be watching this season. And I think Callagher, they've replaced pretty well as a backup goalkeeper, and Kwanzaa is pretty much the only other exit they've had on the fringes, so not too bad. And so you've got Wirtz coming in, Ekitike coming in as well, Frimpong, Kirke, some real good signings of intent. So for me, I think they've improved on last season. I can't see any reason why they'll go less than 80 points. I'd be pushing them up towards 90 personally.
Or 90. Dan, do you agree with that?
Yeah, I completely agree. I was going to put slightly more emphasis on the back end of last season. because they got 84, but they could have been a little bit more had there been a bit more competition from the other guys. They won 1 of their last 5 because they were all flying in from holidays to play games and silly things like that. So I think they'll outscore last season, and also if they don't win the league, I think they do, it's still very possible that they get higher than 80 points and come second. So I think with the signings they've made, and they were awesome last season, as I already said, I was burnt by. There's no reason to suggest they won't be again this season, and maybe even better. So it's a definite hire for me.
Yeah, I don't see why we budget them in for a loss. As Jack mentioned, Wirtz I think is a huge signing for them. They've got a lot of key players in really good place, and it's easy to forget that the back end of last season, once they already wrapped up the league title, they picked up 2 points from the last 4 games. So they got 4.5 points more than the buy price here, despite basically phoning in the last 4 games. And I think it's pretty unlikely that they're going to win the league by canter as they did last year and be able to do that again. So I think they'll be held to account. I see no reason why they'll drop off. It wasn't like it was a ridiculous Premier League season for a points tally. They still lost 4 games and drew 9. I don't see why we'd expect them to drop off massively, although a couple of teams last season showed us that it is, good form one season doesn't necessarily translate into good form the next. And let's get on to those teams now, because next up we are going to be looking at Arsenal. Man City or Arsenal. We can do either because they're the same. We'll do Arsenal. Arsenal 77.5 to sell, 79 to buy. This team, Arsenal, got 74 points last season, so they're being factored in for a significant upgrade on what they did last year. We're going higher or lower, Arsenal. 3, 2, 1. Cool. Oh. Yeah, I've got more to say on this in a second. But I think you'll see. I think Arsenal had quite bad injury problems last season. In particular, Bukayo Saka was out for a pretty crucial moment. I think they have young players coming to the fore in Lewis Skelly and in Ranieri, who I think will play a bigger part this coming season. They haven't lost really any key players for the most part. I think injuries played the biggest impact in their barely disappointing season last season. And in Arteta, they've got a manager who, despite him now getting pelters, I think he is rock solid in terms of what he really offers, and I can't see it getting much worse. So I think they're a decent proposition to buy again at 79. Jack?
Yeah, they're clear second favourites in the fixed odds market, so I do think if you are a supporter of Arsenal, this is 100% the market to play. Because as I said, they're going to have to go north of 80, probably pushing towards 90 this season if they are to win the title. So I think if you say are an Arsenal supporter or wanting them to win, then this is the way to go in. I think last year was supposed to be their year, but they still fumbled it, and they do tend to find a way to do that. The Saka absence, I think, was massive, so keeping him fit will be key, and also the centre backs that they've got. So they are such an element of it. They did score a huge amount of goals from set pieces, so I wonder how much that will be a focus this season as far as their opponents looking to nullify that threat, and whether they can do or not, we'll see. And I think there is a bit of pressure on Arteta to deliver something this season, more so. And obviously Edu departed at the back end of last season. It'll be interesting to see how that dynamic pans out. This long drawn out affair to get Gyökeres over the line, if they end up losing out on him, I think is a massive element that Arsenal just can't get the key business done, which they need to get done. It's been known for ages they need to get these a striker in to sort that out. I think Zubimendi's a good pickup, which could release Rice and Odegaard, but I'm interested to see where Madueke fits into this as well, because you'd say his strongest position is the Saka position.
Well, it seems like he's surely being brought in to play off the left, isn't he?
You would assume so, but
I mean, it is weird, I agree, especially because they've got Ranieri as well, who seemingly wants to come off that right-hand side too, or the reports he might play through the middle. But I agree. But I like Madueke, I would say.
But I've looked at some stats, which I haven't actually got, unfortunately, but look into them myself. When he's playing off the left, his stats for Chelsea were pretty poor, and most of his, if not all of his good work was done on the right. So we'll see what that means. We're going to find out. That's going to be a really interesting subplot to it. So, as I said, I think if Gyökeres if they do get him in, and he does come in and gets anywhere near replicating that form he showed in Portugal, then they probably will go higher than this. But I've got no doubts about that as well. So for me, I'm prepared to take a chance on them. Just falling short again. Similar points total to last season.
Dan?
Yeah, once again, Jack, I completely agree with you. I wish Gyökeres had already signed, because I would love to be talking about his goals total later on.
That's interesting. What would you have him at?
Well, he's surely going to be crazy, right?
Do you think?
He scored like 39 goals in the league last season.
I'd be a huge seller.
Absolutely.
If he
that's
was
exactly
if
why
he was around.
that's exactly why I'm there.
Right. Okay.
I guess it would probably be similar to Haaland's, I would have thought.
No way.
Maybe that
What,
high,
not even
but-
20?
No. I mean, given Salah scored 29 last season, and we'll get on to this. This is a nice plug. And he's 18.5, 20. I reckon, and Isak even 20.5.
Yeah.
I think he'd be like 16, 17 and a half.
Yeah, fair enough. I'd probably still be selling
I'd sell.
at that price. I don't think Arsenal improve on last season. That's my main thing. I think the pressure's going to build on Arteta because surely if he gets to the end of this season with no trophies, his time has run its course. And yeah, if things aren't going so well by, let's say, Christmas, I think, we might start to see a little bit of implosion. The Gyökeres chat is just they need a striker, right? They haven't always because they've had a few in my life, but recently, not so much. They need goals to come from somewhere that, as you mentioned, are not just from Declan Rice whipping them in from corners. Yeah, if they do fall underneath, which I'm suggesting they will, I'm not necessarily suggesting it's like a fall off the cliff like United and Tottenham last season, but just a little bit under the 77. So, lower.
Okay, the third team we're going to be covering is a third title favourite in Manchester City, and their point spread with Spread X is the same as Arsenal, 77.5 to sell, 79 to buy. Obviously, off a really disappointing season last season with 71 points, which was bizarre given their consistency prior to that. A lot of new players coming through the door, a lot of players going out the door. Where are we on Man City? 3, 2, 1.
All fans.
So, this is why I was like, it'll make more sense afterwards. I've looked at these three teams because it's a bit nip-tuck, you don't really know. But I would say that last season, Liverpool win the league with a point tally of 84, not particularly high points tally. Arsenal have, by anyone's imagination, a pretty poor season, and they finished second on 74 points. But the fans aren't happy, criticism of the manager, injuries, whatever else. Man City have a really poor season, almost like the worst season that Pep Guardiola's had as a club manager. They finished on 71 points. Rodri out, players, obviously needed freshening up and everything else. Those 3 points tallies equated to 229 points between the three of them. And the three buy prices here, 79, 79 and 79.5, gets to 237.5. So you're only asking, in order to buy all three and make money, you need 8.5 more points between the three of them this season to last season. And that feels to me eminently doable.
Yeah.
You look at last season's Premier League table, and I know that the narrative is the big six is all over, and the teams like Villa and Forest and Brighton better, and I do get that, but I still think last season was an anomaly in terms of that being a bit more squeezed. Man City lost 9 games last season. That is unthinkable pre-season. Arsenal drew 14. Arsenal only won 20 of their 38 games. We've seen over the past decade or so the best teams in the Premier League showing an element of dominance, and one season of that not being the case, especially in Arsenal City's case where you can point at reasons why it happened. I think there's been a huge overreaction, and the way I'm looking at this is basically buy all three at 238 or 237 and package them together, and that's what I've done.
Good strategy.
Yeah, it is a good strategy because I don't think I've genuinely ever agreed more with you in that sense. Obviously, I've gone lower for Arsenal, but I think the rationale you're bringing makes a lot of sense because surely, in my opinion, it's going to be City or Liverpool will finish. If they're to win the league, they'll finish 10 points or so higher than the prediction.
Yeah.
So as long as Arsenal don't finish way below the 77, then we can all.
If there's two of the three close, could be all three of the three close, but if there's two of the three, they are going to push each other mid to high 80s as a minimum. And so I can't see that not happening this season round. And I certainly can't see City having anything like that season. You've touched on all those points, the numbers and everything else, and I think the regeneration, the fact that Pep's bought into I'm going to regenerate this side, this is going to be like City Mark II, then I think that they've got some great additions, I think, this season.
Yeah, Pep's the big thing, right? He still wants to be there. He did have the chance to sort of bow out at City, but he wants to go again. And I think that statement of intent is very clear. Shown none more so by the guys they've brought in. They look to be quality signings, and I mean, I'd probably argue City have had a better window so far than Arsenal. Well,
let's talk about the specifics of their window. What do you like?
Well, I like everything. They always buy solid left backs.
Solid. Yeah.
I think that's probably one of their best signings, getting Aït-Nouri. Not necessarily because he's a very good, proven left back in the Premier League, but the fact that was their area where they just dropped someone in and took them out of their specialist area elsewhere. So to get Gvardiol now to be able to play more in his specialised position, he did a job there and did a good job there, but now go back there to strengthen up that back line. I think is a brilliant pickup, a real shrewd signing.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, Rodri coming back is basically one of the best new signings of all time. I like Shirky. He looks good, although a couple of touches in the Club World Cup didn't make him look amazing, but I think he'll embed and be good and be very exciting going forward. Yeah, got Reinders as well.
I think I like Reinders as a player. I've liked a lot as well. And obviously, there's talk at the moment that Donnarumma has just turned down a contract to PSG. Could be coming into it, replace Ederson, and I think that would be as a goalkeeper, an upgrade. As a distributor, possibly not. But when you've got other players to do that, come on, just be a good goalkeeper. I'm old school there, though, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think it's only up for Man City this season, and like after this season, like Pep. It's a ridiculous thing to say because every team is going to want to do this, but like, it's trophies or not. Do you know what I mean? He's gone if he doesn't get another.
What, sacked?
I think so.
Pep gets sacked.
Well, I mean, his contract's up at the end of this season anyway, or the one coming. So it might not be a sacking; it might be a mutual agreement.
He might walk away.
Yeah.
Chelsea next up, the world champions.
Yes.
Best team in the world.
Champions of the Conference of Europe, champions of the world.
So many words, isn't it?
Who can sing that? They've won it all. Chelsea 68.5 to sell, 70 to buy. 69 last season, so basically bang on the same. Do you think that's harsh?
Will they be as good as last season?
3, 2, 1, no.
Yes. Oh.
No.
I think it's just like one of those where
they're champions of the world.
Just take on the recency bias, Like, they were pretty poor second half of last season. They started really well, got a lot of their points early on in the campaign. I think because the way that Maresca plays, for the most part, they were kind of solved a bit and teams worked hard to play against them and how to beat them. I think PSG were a great opponent for them in the Club World Cup final because PSG don't change their style of play depending on their opposition, and they were able to tear them a new one on the break, which they did incredibly well. They've obviously got great players, and I rate them, but I still think they're a fair way off the likes of Liverpool, Man City and Arsenal. And it's a 9-point difference in the spread betting markets. There's also an element here where, like, if I'm going to be sitting here touting buys for the top 3 in the market, then
it's got to give someone.
They've got other teams have got to be sells, haven't they? And if those 3 teams are likely going to do that, the points really come somewhere. So I'm taking Chelsea on here, and this is Chelsea. Like, if they start poorly, 6 weeks in, is Maresca under pressure again? It's not the most stable of places. We've been here before with Chelsea recently, but they are world champions. Jack, why do you reckon Chelsea are going to kick on?
I was quite negative about Chelsea in this show last year, and then for much of last season, actually. It took me quite a lot of convincing that they should be considered, I'd say, challengers for the title. I think it is between those 3. But I think Chelsea will clear this. I think, as you said, they finished 4th last season on 69. I think they'll finish 4th again this season. And I think they might get a few more points just because I think they've improved their side. They've also got players that have been there now a couple of seasons and have grown into it. And I'm thinking Caicedo there now, I think, is showing the form that he really caught the eye with at Brighton and makes him one of the best CDMs, I think, in the world. Interesting, they've obviously moved a couple of goalkeepers along. They've moved Madueke along that we've talked about. But what I like about their recruitment, João Pedro, I think, is a real different element for them. The fact where he can drop deep, pull out wide. I think he's going to create a lot of space. And I think Maresca has absolutely clearly identified that I can't mess around with Cole Palmer. Cole Palmer's going to be my man. He's going to be my guy. And he's going to pull the strings and he's going to be the difference maker for us. But ultimately as well, I love the fact that they've gone and got Delap. And Delap, I wondered how he'd start. I know he's only been in Club World Cup, we've seen him in, but it looks like he's gone, I'm a very good player, super confident, saw him come on a couple of times, and that game against PSG, he wasn't daunted at all, he was getting stuck in. But I think what I like about it is that they've clearly got effectively a plan B in that if it isn't quite working out, and there's not many other sides, even the top sides that have got like a different option, they'll change the players but still kind of play the same way. They can play very different by just putting Delap in there. And if he works for them, I think that'll be the difference. And the final one is Pedro Neto's form at the back end of last season really caught my eye, and I thought he was exceptional in the Club World Cup. And again, back to that form that was made him a great player at Wolves. So I think they've got all those elements, and the fact that Maresca actually tactically won that battle in the final. I know you said it was a good matchup for him, but he did take advantage of it, and he did exploit what was effectively PSG's strength and turned it into a weakness. I like that, and I think that will give the set of confidence that in everyone around the club that they've got all the elements in place to go and at least match last season, if not slightly go higher.
Yeah. Liam Delap, interesting. A couple of loans early in his career. Stoke, Preston, Hull.
Yeah.
Didn't do great there. Just
Didn't
shows
do well, no.
Sometimes you shouldn't judge a player too quickly. Dan?
Yeah, as any shrewd spread better will do, I'm taking the vibes approach for this one. I just think the vibes seem really good about Chelsea. Like, obviously, they come off the back of their trophy wins this season, Club World Cup. They're going to be singing we're the best team in the world for 4 more years. I think that's got to have some impact. Some of the signings they've brought in, I think, okay, some of them are quite young, but they're very exciting. Like Esteval, it's all right, being touted out as the next Neymar. That could be very interesting. Like, I guess you're probably the same with
Neymar.
He could take a while to embed, right?
Yeah.
But he might not.
He could, but awesome. What they have got is, as you said, that incredible strength and depth, that he has the ability to take time to embed. He hasn't got to go and catch fire straight away, because you see a graphic online where they've literally listed 2 exceptional players in every position, sometimes 3 and 4. So yeah.
And we've got former Reading man Jamie Gittins coming in as well.
Did he even play for you?
Not sure. I think it was just an academy prospect. We'd got some money out of this deal, so I'm very happy about that.
Congratulations.
Thanks. And that's what it's got to now as a Reading fan. A little bit of cash here is perfect. And yeah, going back to what you said, I think their midfield now looks pretty solid. One of the best in the league. I'm talking about Enzo and Caicedo more than anything.
250 million or whatever it is.
And probably taking a little bit too long to get to that point, but there we go, they're there now. Yeah, I just think this is going to be a big season for Chelsea. I think they're going to outperform last season. They're definitely in my top 4, so I think 70 seems very reachable and beyond.
So what's your 1, 2, 3, 4?
Probably just the ones we've covered so far, I think. Liverpool, City, Chelsea, Arsenal, in that order.
Ooh. And your...
City.
Whoa.
Liverpool, Arsenal. Then don't know. I think City win the league.
Okay.
You?
Liverpool, City, Arsenal, Chelsea.
There you go.
So your don't know, is that because you don't think it will be Chelsea that make the 4th?
Not necessarily, yeah.
Fair enough. Cool.
Thanks.
Here's one team that will definitely be in contention.
Could it be then? Could it be?
Right. 2 more in this show. You can find all the other teams that we haven't mentioned up on the site, of course.
Yeah.
Manchester United. The Giants, or former Giants, maybe, of English football. 56 points, 5 to sell, 58 to buy. Last season.
What happened last season, though?
Jesus.
42,
I think.
42?
Oh, they didn't have a good season, did they?
42. So being budgeted for...
It wasn't really covered, was it?
No.
14 or so more points.
Oh,
15.
Easy.
Under Ruben Amorim.
Big Rube.
Not many players coming through the door. Few leaving thus far.
Not as many as they want.
No.
Higher or lower? United points. 3, 2, 1.
Oh.
It's a big fat.
It's a full house.
You did a little like, ooh, could it be them thing? That's what you were doing.
Yeah.
Some United fans would have you think they're cooking. Why are you not sure the oven's on?
More chance of sticking the head in the oven, I think, at this rate than cooking anything on it. But no, I just think like there should be improvement on last season. There's got to be, right?
Yeah, it has to be.
42 points. Can it be worse? Is there? Mick McCarthy meme comes to my mind. But defensively poor for the last 2 seasons. And what have they done to improve that? They obviously put a young lad in. One for the future, I guess. So that doesn't seem to be have been addressed in any way, shape or form. And when you're shipping goals, you're always going to struggle. especially when you haven't got a striker to score too many at the other end. They're obviously frantically trying to get someone in. As time of recording, we can only judge on what we're seeing at this moment in time, and it's not massively different. The season before last, they finished 8th with 60 points, and I think that's the absolute top end best they could possibly dream of this season. Will be a repeat of that, which would mean a tiny loss. I think there's certainly more downside to this line than there is upside. I can't see him going smashing the line at all. I think for me the jury's still out on Amorim, and he's got quite a tough start to the season. Arsenal, first game of the season, a couple of other tricky games in there as well. That could really crank the pressure on, especially if they continue to struggle at home as well. And there's not that fear factor there used to be either. So they still need a striker. There's not many strikers out there they haven't been linked with, but they can't seem to get anywhere close to getting one over the line. And they just seem to be very timid and unsure in the transfer market. You know, they put in a lot to try and be quite strong. People are just not buying it, and they go, no, we're not doing that. We see Brentford effectively master them in the transfer market to get what they wanted, and a bit more, I think, in the end, out of Mbeumo. Cunha and Mbeumo, two very good players from last season, a couple of seasons now. Their marquee signings so far, on paper very good, but they were the key men in their clubs that they played for. They're not necessarily going to be that in this situation. They're in areas I'm not certain they absolutely, definitely needed to focus on. And when you look at them saying, well, we've got goal scorers now, an interesting stat was that they finished first and third, those two players, as far as overperformance to their XG last season. So 20 goals for Mbeumo from an XG of 12.26 and 15 for Cunha for an XG of 8.63. So we all know that's pretty unsustainable. And the pressure at Old Trafford, I'm wondering how they're going to perform. I think Cunha could kind of be a bit dangerous under that, to be fair. But for me, midfield still looks wide open. There's still lots of issues. So, yeah, it's a lower.
I just think that I like, obviously Cunha as a player is incredibly talented, and I love Mbeumo and have done for a long time. But like, this is a club who have made things incredibly difficult for themselves from a squad building perspective, and a really poor recruitment record of consistently going out and buying players off the back of like career best seasons for massive money at an age where there's not much development left to happen, and they've just done it again. And I'm just like, what? How do you not think at some point it's the strategy rather than the activation that is the issue, and that they just don't seem to do that. I don't know. I think they'll be pretty poor again. I've seen very little from Amorim to suggest he's any good, or that he's up to this job. I don't know. Like, I think if I was a United fan, I've seen some suggesting they think they're going to be challenging towards the top end. I'll be really hoping that the 3 relegated sides are bad again, because I think there's a chance they could be down there.
Wow.
Well, you say wow, but why?
Well, no, I'm about to argue the same side as you.
Exactly. Like they're a team that got 42 points last season, and they were bad, and I don't see any reason within their squad. Like, you look at Marcus Rashford, a player that's terrible for him for so long, goes out on loan to Villa, looks pretty good, and now gets somebody moved to Barcelona. People are like, oh no, he doesn't deserve it. Why does he deserve this move? It's like, yeah, because there is a pattern of players at Manchester United being poor and then leaving and being good, and I'm sure he'll be the next one. Like, there's something rotten at the club, and I thought that would change when Ratcliffe came in with Ineos, because I thought, the Glazer era is over. They're going to, but if anything, it's just got worse. I struggle to see any reason why you'd be positive about them next season.
So, taking points out of the equation, if I put the position in the table line at 13.5,
it's a tough line.
Yeah, to sell. I mean, there is there's a market, isn't there? With
there's finishing positions.
Yeah, United are.
Well, it'd be a lot higher than that.
8, 9.5.
Yeah, so that's
be a massive buyer at 9.5. Surely. If they finish 7th, that's an unbelievable job.
Yeah. Not happening.
If they finish in the top 10, I think they've got to be very happy with that improvement.
Weight of money, public money going on to that fixed odds market, and obviously all the betting markets. That's where those lines have to move on that basis, and that's not a factual line or one that you can back up with reasoning and rationale. And I absolutely, totally agree on that respect. He's putting it on now, in fact.
I'm not. Right. Dan, what you got to say?
Yeah, to be honest, not much more. The only point I've got is United fans are obviously hanging their hat on Cunha and Mbeumo coming in, and I agree with you. Yeah.
Come on. That you hasn't been after the thing for ages.
Mbomo.
Yeah. There's no where. There's no where. No. None of that.
Could be.
Just no Mbomo. Yeah.
The two new signings.
We'll cut that. It's fine.
But United haven't
the U
really
is
had
after the E.
Yeah.
Okay.
Impossible to cut now.
There hasn't really been a good signing for United, bar probably Bruno Fernandes, in 10 years. So yeah, they might be great players and perform really highly for their teams previously, but there's not really anything to suggest they'll come in here and make a massive impact. And United have a hard start, and United fans and Old Trafford has the potential to be a very toxic place inside 10 games, and it's quite a tough turnaround at that point, I think, if things are toxic and the fans are not on side.
Okay. Final team we're going to look at here is Leeds. Won the Championship title last season in dramatic style with a late goal against Plymouth Argyle, thanks to Manor Solomon, sending Leeds outright backers into frenzy on final day.
Some would say they're still smiling.
Yep. 36 to sell, 37.5 to buy here for Leeds. Just to put that into context, Burnley 28 to sell, 29.5 to buy. Sunderland 27 to sell, 28.5 to buy. So, nearly.
Thanks for the lean.
Huh?
Thanks for the.
Yeah. You what? Do you like one of those?
No, the context that you put around it.
Thank you. Right. So Leeds, we're going higher or lower? Leeds points. 3, 2, 1.
Oh, this was so obvious that George was going this way.
Leeds.
Yeah. It's a good film.
So.
Please tell. I mean, I am intrigued. It's possibly my strongest play.
So firstly, I would say that Leeds winning the title on goal difference last season is not a fair representation of the quality of that football team. Well, I would say the Leeds were, in my opinion, the best team in the Championship by absolutely miles. And had they won the league by 10, 15 points, it would have been totally justified. I think probably the reason why they didn't win it by 10, 15 points is because they had Eli Meslier in goal until March, and Burnley had James Trafford in goal all season. I think if you put Meslier in goal of Burnley and Trafford in goal at Leeds, the gap between those two teams would have been 10, 12, 15 points, in my opinion. Right. So that's to start with. And then Leeds are doing bits. Leeds are buying players who aren't like the first 11 that we're going to see from Leeds this coming season in the Premier League is going to be completely different to last season in the Championship. And we haven't seen many teams do this. The only team who have spent bought 30 players, and I know Leeds aren't doing it in volume, but who completely tried to revolutionise their side after promotion was Nottingham Forest, and yet it looked like that was going to go very, very wrong to start with. But they're actually the one team who've managed to very quickly bridge the gap between the Championship and the Premier League and become a side that have now qualified for Europe. There's a lot of noise about Daniel Farke and his lack of suitability to the job. I think this is totally different. I basically think this Leeds side are better than those Norwich teams, even as much as I love them. You're about to freak out. And I also think he would have learned a lot from the experiences of being unable to, or struggling to get the teams to compete at that level. I think they'll be fine. I think they'll stay up. I think they'll stay up relatively comfortably.
Get that clipped. Bullish.
I may as well go next because mine's very short. I don't think they'll stay up. And last year, the highest performing relegated side had 25.
What's that got to do with the price of eggs?
Well, they're not going to stay up. I don't think they'll get more than 30. So
okay.
I think it's a nice, easy sell for me. Go on, Jack, take it away, mate.
Well, no, there's not much to say on it, really. As you said, those promoted clubs, the last 2 seasons, the most has been 26 points. 12, 22, 25, 16, 24 and 26. I would dearly love this trend to end.
Would you?
Yeah, I absolutely
this
would.
season?
Yeah?
Okay, fine.
Why?
Well, maybe next season when Norwich go up, then they can do it.
Wow, will they? You'll have to watch our championship show for that one, won't you? Yeah, well, there's a few reasons. I've got some very good friends who are Leeds fans, so it'd be great for them.
Famously optimistic bunch.
Yeah, very optimistic bunch. They've completely vouched for the fact that I've gone lower here. They're always a high line, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is, for me, a high line. And look, I think Leeds are a great side to have in the Premier League. I think they add a lot to it. And of course, you've already mentioned him. So Daniel Afarko is like, still very, very close to my heart, and I'd love to see him prove the doubters wrong, prove people wrong. And you're right, they're in a much stronger position than the sides that he was kind of famously sent to war with in those days, the 2 attempts at Norwich. So I do like they've kind of bought a couple of decent, strong-looking centre backs. So they've rather than a general trend is to try and get flair players that are going to go and weave their magic in the Premier League. We're going to try and keep the back door shut. Get a solid foundation and play from there. I think Firpo's a loss, but we'll have to see Goodmanson coming in if that works well.
Solomon's a loss.
He is indeed, yeah. They've added Longstaff into the middle of the park, haven't they? So more energy in industry. They're kind of going down that route rather than the flair. So Nemetcha will be interesting to see in the attack. He's got a decent record. So I do think the attack does look a little bit short, but if they can keep it tight, then they will have a fighting chance. And so I would love to see him do it. Of any of the selections I've had here, I'd absolutely actually like this one. I'd be wrong on this one, but I just think it's a high line. I think if they could survive by still going lower, but I think they're really up against it.
Interesting, yeah. Even they brought in a lot of players, as I say, and I think there are probably more to come in terms of defenders. It's Yaka Biol from Udinese for reported 18 million euros. Boronau from Wolfsburg, alongside who's in the middle of the park. Anton Stack from Hoffenheim, centre fielder, yeah. Comes in. They're spending, I think it's 70 odd million euros already. There's some with more to come, and I think, as I said, it'll be a very different side, which is a risk because they were a very good team last year, and I personally think their team last year, in my mind, I think probably would have got more points.
Just very briefly on it, you obviously mentioned the other 2 promoted sides. Do you think that they've got a chance of survival as well, or would you say Leeds are definitely the strongest one and you fear?
My strongest view about the other 2 is that I would love to back Sunderland in a match bet with Burnley. Yeah. At odds against, which they would be because they're obviously the outsiders of the 2.
Making moves in the market.
Sunderland, and I think Granit Xhaka would be a brilliant signing.
Yeah, absolutely right, 100%.
Incredible signing. And I think Régis Lebris is going to be pretty well suited to managing a team that aren't going to have much of the ball. For the most part. But let's see, we'll talk about it loads.
Look forward to
it. You guys can remind me every week that I sat here saying Leeds were going to stay up.
Well, that's what I wanted to know. If Leeds stay up, who goes down?
Possibly Wolves, possibly Brentford.
Brentford's the one, surely.
Brentford would have been a good one to put in here.
I'm a big fan.
I do regret that.
I've sat on a sofa at Sky with Keith a few times, and he's a very knowledgeable guy. Yeah. Good talker. Yeah, I hope he does well. There we go, a little name drop to end the show. Thank you guys for taking the time to watch this episode of High or Low, brought to you by SpreadX, Sporting Index and oddschecker. If you haven't already got a SpreadX or a Sporting Index account, click on the link in the show description, and there's a new customer offer there. Make sure you sign up. Do read up on the risks of spread betting, and remember that losses can exceed your initial deposit. Oddschecker have you covered for your best odds, bookie offers, free bets, tipsters, and all else up on the site and on the app there. So make sure you check out Oddschecker. And WhoScored.com have you covered for your stats for your football betting. We are going to record a player goal show in the Premier League and also a championship preview too. So make sure you keep your eyes peeled on for those. We'll see you again soon. Please ensure that you're gambling responsibly.